Hello, I'm Robin and I'm a normal alcoholic. Do you need to go to rehab? Maybe. I'm gonna talk a little bit about who might need to go to rehab, what you can expect while you're there, the pros and the cons. The first thing you need to know is that rehab will not cure you of addiction on its own. As with every approach, service, therapy, solution, whatever, you have to really want it. You have to be prepared to do some hard work, make some big changes, and really stick it out. No one's going to be able to walk into rehab, stay there for 4, 6, 8 weeks, however long, and just expect to be cured, walk out at the end, and never want to have a drink or drug again. Doesn't work like that. Different sources and different facilities will quote different success rates for going to rehab. Some of them might say they're successful if you stayed sober for a year afterwards. Different ways of measuring, but anyway. My point is, I know quite a lot of people that have been to rehab and not many that have actually stayed sober on the first attempt. I had to think about this and I can only think of 3, and I know a lot of people that have been. I mean, I myself, it didn't work for me first time. It did at a later attempt, but it's not the only thing I did. I did an awful lot of work outside of rehab. It took me a lot of time, a lot of effort, a lot of heartache, but I eventually realized that if I try and go back to drink, I'm going to lose. I do not have the control needed to drink normally. If you think of your mind like a computer, going to rehab is a bit like a system reset or a system refresh button. You know, you'll get sober. They can do that initially. You'll learn a lot about yourself. You'll learn about the reasons why you drink. You'll learn about coping mechanisms. It'll be great. But when you come out and you get back to the real world, you'll have to experience all those things that made you drink in the first place. Like I said, it's not a miracle cure. You have to really take what you get from rehab and put it into practice afterwards. Going to rehab's kind of the easy bit. Hard work starts later. So who should go to rehab? Well, if you're struggling with addiction and you have the money to spare, or if you have health insurance that's going to cover it, then it is a great opportunity to learn, change, and hopefully get sober. But it shouldn't be your first port of call. You should have tried everything else first. You should have tried therapy, meditation, diet, lifestyle, 12-step meetings, the whole lot. And if you've failed at all that, if you've had to have that despair that nothing's working, then you'll probably have the drive to make it work at rehab. If you don't have private funding or health insurance, then for those in the UK, sometimes you will be able to get funding through your local authority services. It's not easy and it's not quick. You will normally have to prove to them that you have tried everything else, that the only thing that might work will be a stint in rehab. But again, won't be quick. It could be months, if not years of trying before they decide that you're worthy of securing a place. Okay, so what do you get? Well, I can only tell you from my experience. I've been to 2 different facilities, and also I've spoken to a lot of people who've been to others. Most in the UK are going to be pretty similar. You get sober, they'll help you with the detox, and then you'll do a lot of group therapy and group activities. Just like in the movies, you'll have to sit round in a circle and talk about your experiences, what you've been through, and what that means, your emotions, your thought processes, etc. I can't really explain exactly why this works, but it does. If you can go into these sessions with an open mind, really listen and try and relate to your fellow addicts, you'll learn just as much from what they say as what you're prepared to open up and say yourself. If you can learn to not judge, you'll start to see the similarities, and together you'll develop hope where previous you would have just had despair. I'm so grateful for all the people that I've met, not just in rehab, but in other service centres, and had these group sessions. It's their support and their stories that have made me the man I am today. I hope you get to experience that too. Okay, so you get sober, you have group therapy, you hopefully have some nice food. You'll also probably have one-to-one sessions with a counsellor, and you'll also have some homework or written assignments. Not homework, but in your room work. I found that these assignments they're really good because you get to delve inside in your own space, be introspective. It brings out stuff that maybe you're too shy to bring up in the group. And that's it. Wake, eat, work, sleep, repeat. While all that's going on, you'll make friends, hopefully. You'll learn to get along with people without drink or drugs. You might go for walks, do some arts and crafts, meditation, yoga. One of mine even had a bit of karaoke. First time I'd done that sober. The last thing that you do in rehab, and this will be probably the last week or last couple of days, is you make a plan for what you're going to do when you leave. Because it's a bit of a shock returning to the real world. You will probably have to plan your first week every day, what you're going to do from the moment you wake till the moment you go to sleep. But then you'll also have an ongoing kind of life plan. Now, if you make a good plan and if you stick to it, you've got a really good chance of staying sober. But if you don't stick to that, I can tell you things will go downhill quickly. Before you know it, all those things that made you drink in the first place will just be too much to bear, and you'll return to your old addict ways quicker than you know. I hope this video has given you a bit of an insight into whether you think you need to go to rehab and what to expect when you're there. For more information around addiction and alcohol in general, check out some of my other videos. Bye.